Time is running out to build a gaming PC this way, but if you still want to put together a brand new and still super powerful gaming PC for $750, this is the way to do it. Because of the RAM, SSD, and now GPU pricing going through the roof, almost all of my build guides are essentially out of date. So today we're going over what I would call a realistic $750 gaming PC for 2026, because you can legit copy all of this pretty easily here in the States. I'm gonna walk you through all the parts and tell you where to find them, and then we'll benchmark it to see what it's capable of. Spoiler alert, it gets over 100 FPS in Arc Raiders and over 90 FPS in Battlefield 6. This thing is seriously impressive considering today's terrible PC building market, and I'm gonna make this as easy to copy as possible. Feel free to use the build guide cheat sheet in the description for even more help if you need it, or the step-by-step building video that's down there as well. And real quickly, if you're new around here, my name is Zach, and my mission is just to help everybody jump into gaming PCs. I upload a ton of build guide videos just like this one. There's even more resources on my website that are all totally free, and I even sell pre-builts if that's your jam. I'm just trying to help you in the best way for you, and maybe this $750 custom built gaming PC is the answer. Let's find out. All right, we gotta start with the difficult components first, and then we'll work our way through everything else. Of course, I'm talking about the RAM, and if your total build budget is $750, or honestly even less than $1,000 in 2026, you gotta go DDR4 in my opinion. This is where things are changing though, and for the past 2 months, DDR4 has been in a much better spot compared to DDR5. I think we're finally at that point that we were dreading, where everybody knows about this, so the price of DDR4 is now continuing to go up. With the kind of budget we're working with, I honestly wouldn't even consider a 32 gig kit. We'll go with 16 because that is enough for most games, and I don't want to spend over 200 of our $750 budget just for that. This is a YOLO 2x8GB Blackout 3200 megahertz kit with a CL rating of 16, and I got this on Amazon for $100. Again, that price is already going up though, so even if you're just thinking about following this build guide, I'd at least buy that right now. You don't need this specific YOLO kit, and honestly, just get whatever at this point. Just make sure it's a 2x8GB DDR4 kit and ideally clocked at 3000 megahertz or higher. Nothing other than that really matters a whole lot in 2026. I will tell you though that my total cost for the build was actually less than $750, so even if you have to pay a little bit more for the RAM, you're still probably gonna end up around that target price. The other component we gotta worry about though is the SSD, and unfortunately we're at the point where I'm starting to consider dropping back down to 500 gigabyte drives. I remember making the decision like 5 years ago that I was never gonna use anything less than a terabyte anymore because prices were getting so cheap. I might have to walk that back. Not today though, because this is the KingSpec NX 1TB NVMe, which is only Gen 3, and I grabbed this again off Amazon for $114. At the time of writing this video, I'd say the average 1TB price is around $130 to $140, but there are some kits randomly around this lower price point, so just snag whatever you can find. I recommend making sure it's NVMe and not SATA so you get the much faster speeds, but again, 2026, that's all that really matters. Just buy whatever sort of deal that you can find. Now that we got those difficult parts out of the way, the rest of this is just like building a normal gaming PC. My total cost for the RAM and SSD was $214, so that leaves us with a bit over $500 for everything else. Just for reference, about 6 months ago, I probably could have got this SSD and RAM for just $100. The price to performance of a $750 gaming PC is way worse than what it was back then, so please do not compare this video with another one from 6 months ago. They are completely different. With the rest of our budget, we'll start with the CPU, and as much as I'd like to get the Ryzen 5 5600 involved or even an Intel 12th gen CPU, the best I could squeeze into this budget was just the Ryzen 5 5500. This still somehow costs $75, and that's honestly probably the best price to performance item in our parts list, especially since we'll use the included cooler. Well, the GPU is pretty good too, but we'll get to that later. I know I keep saying that I want to build PCs in 2026 with Intel CPUs, I just couldn't fit it in today's budget. The 5500 is the cheapest CPU that I consider buying for a gaming PC, and with this strict of a budget, I couldn't even squeeze a 12100F in there. We'll have to save that for another build. The motherboard this 5500 is going into is the MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi, and I grabbed this off Amazon for $91. Honestly, there's a lot of options to go with. Motherboards are one of the healthier markets, thankfully, at least for now. I would try to find any B550M with built-in Wi-Fi, but I'll have several alternatives linked down the cheat sheet. If you haven't seen these before, this is the additional and kind of boring information that you'll need if you're copying copying this build, I have those alternative links, a cable management guide, BIOS settings, and some other really good value, which is all for free. Enjoy. Next up, we get to the power supply, and this is yet again the Raidmax Cobra 650 watt. This just continues to be some of the best valued budget PSUs right now. It's been sitting on Newegg for $40, and I even snagged mine for $35. That's just some insane value for a Tier C ATX 3.1 unit. You just gotta look past the price typo on the box, no big deal. What is a big deal though is this case, and honestly, I was super excited to use this one. It's not new or anything, but other people have been using it here around the office, and they've been speaking highly of it. It's the Darkflash DB330M, and the reason they like it is just because it doesn't really do anything wrong. It's not a super impressive case like the Lian Li V100R Mini is. That one I definitely also recommend. But this DB330M just does everything right, and for $65, it packs some decent value with the 3 pre-installed ARGB fans, minimal and clean all-black fish tank design, and there's enough room in the PSU basement after removing the HDD cage to hide all of the cables. We actually used this case for our Cherry Blossom pre-built over on ZTTbuilds.com, and that build uses cable extensions, and we still don't have a problem cable managing inside this case. Pretty impressive stuff. But what's the most impressive part of this entire build is the GPU, and welcome back to the channel, the Intel Arc B580. This launched back in December of 2024, and when it launched, it was priced at $250, had 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and packed some of the best FPS per dollar value. Wanna know what's changed since then? Nothing. It's actually gotten even better. It's still rocking the really good price to performance, and the 12 gigabytes of VRAM for a $250 GPU is unheard of now. But when it launched, it did have an overhead issue where the GPU wouldn't perform that well when paired with budget CPUs. That's since been pretty much ironed out, and with the Ryzen 5 5500, we got some impressive results. We'll talk about those in just a bit. And aesthetically, I mean, honestly, this might be one of the best current gen cards in my opinion. The entire unboxing aesthetics is perfectly on point, and this is as clean as an all-black GPU can get. All the lines are super smooth. I love the little white light coming from the side. Yeah, that entire side profile is just squeaky clean. I actually bought this for $260 on B&H, and for some even more value, it came included with a 2025 holiday gaming bundle. I bought this in January, so I'm not sure how long this will last, but yeah, this comes included with one of 4 games that you can pick from between Battlefield 6, Dying Light the Beast, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Civ 7. If you were gonna pick any of these games up already, that is some incredible additional value. So here's what the final parts list is looking like, and as you can see, I actually stayed a bit under that $750 target price. I have a feeling if you copy this right now, you'll be at $750 or maybe even just a bit above that. The important thing to realize is that this is just the market that we're in right now, so even if you have to spend like $775, this is still a pretty good gaming PC for 2026 standards. Case in point here with Arc Raiders, because in 1080p with medium settings, this PC cranked out an average FPS of 108. Granted, this is one of the more optimized titles, but still, this is without any sort of upscaling or frame generation. Another optimized title is of course Battlefield 6, and here in 1080p with low settings, it got 91 FPS. Here you can see that the CPU utilization is getting a bit up there close to 90%, so are the temperatures, but with a build like this, I think that's perfectly fine. Let's talk about that real quickly, because yeah, with a system like this and in certain games, it might be a little bit bottlenecked. Like I said earlier, I would have much rather put a 5600 in here with a build like this, but I simply couldn't find the budget to make that possible. In 2026, when we're in the middle of all these shortages, it's acceptable to have a slightly imbalanced PC. It's not the end of the world. The worst case scenario I can find is with a game like Rust, because here in 1080p low, our FPS was only 44. The CPU utilization isn't going up anywhere close to 100%, but the speed and power of the CPU is probably what's holding this game back by a bit. Other than that though, every game we tested ran really well, because here's Doom the Dark Ages in 1080p medium getting over 60 FPS, Helldivers 2 in 1080p high got 81, and in the finals we got 103 FPS in 1080p medium. Here's the rest of the games that we tested, and if you want to see the full benchmarking video with longer gameplay clips of every single title, that was just uploaded to the ZTT Extras channel, and it's linked down in the description. We have a ton of other really cool content over there. It's the place to be. But yeah, I think this is as good as it gets right now for this price range in early 2026, especially if you're only buying brand new parts. Sure, it's a bit unbalanced, but that can be solved later with a CPU upgrade, because AM4 has several good options to eventually upgrade to, or you could of course just not have a $750 budget, and if you can bump that up to $800, you can squeeze in a $5,600 right now. In 2026, we gotta take what the market gives us, and this is about all we can get right now. If you do wanna see what a 2026 $1,000 gaming PC looks like, then the video for that is up on the screen right now. That one is still up to date.